It's been a year, not literally a year. It's like,
Almost.
whoa, what a
Oh, it's
year!
yes, yes. It's been quite a year.
It's been quite a year.
Yeah, more than hashtags. Come on, yeah, more than hashtags. No, we won't forget what's working, what's trendy, and what's next. With Adam Leidhecker and Vincent Orleck. Every week a new episode from news on the net. Reppin' Arizona, I know just what you came for. For stories people might miss and fly under the radar. Yeah, more than hashtags, it's news and we're on it. Make sure that you subscribe and follow if you want it. Yeah, more than hashtags.
Say we were chatting, texting, and want to get the band back together, want to record some episodes, and we just started like just going down the list of like what's been going on in social, and there's been really good stuff. So we're like, this would be good for an episode.
This should only take a couple hours. So sit back, relax, and no, we're just gonna focus on more of the recent stuff, and we're gonna dive right into it, I think. But first, I need to talk about my friend here. I need to talk about my buddy Adam. Did you know, DYK, as we say on the socials, Adam was an integral part of a recent social media webinar with General Assembly Phoenix, where they've been doing a lot of these webinar sessions, a lot of these panels online over the last couple months. They've kind of popped in here in the Valley and some other cities too. And Adam was part of a group talking about Instagram growth and branding on Instagram and growing your account. And I found it riveting. Adam, how was it for you?
I can't even start out without. Did you know, DYK, as they say, that Vincent was also recently a guest on a Mind Your Marketing podcast? I haven't listened yet because it just came out.
That's right, but that's okay. I that podcast I recorded about 9 weeks ago, and
Oh wow,
my
cool.
buddy Jordan, from Mind Your Marketing, from Cave Social, actually, they've been doing that podcast, Mind Your Marketing, for like a while. Now it's just him doing that show, but it's very focused and had a good time. He let me ramble
I
about.
think it's interesting that we both of us did two external things at about the same time
Yeah,
ish, because we were saying we need another creative outlet, which is why we're back on the pod. Um, the webinar was good. I'm always wondering, if people are tuning in, they want to get the link, the recording afterwards. But honestly, I was curious to see what the state of where people are thinking Instagram is for business, what they think they need to do, how to grow it, how to make authentic community. So I'm like, yeah, I'll be one of the panelists. I think it would be great. There's a couple other people on the panel that had some agencies and some influencer marketing experience,
right.
and about 150 people registered, and I think 50, 60 showed up. So I think they all got the recording afterwards.
Yeah, but there's a thirst for that knowledge. Well, Adam,
Totally.
what was maybe one, or if you remember two, of the maybe main points that came through there?
Sure. Well, a lot of the pretty common stuff about how to schedule your posts, how to come up with your posts, how to grow to 10,000. But two things that still came up that really stuck out to me. They talked a lot about influencer marketing. Some of the people on the panel, and some people asking questions. And then the other one was like the moderator asked about buying Instagram followers,
Yikes!
which I just said no, don't do
Right,
it,
right.
don't do it. But it's interesting in 2020 that I find we're still talking about something that just feels like it's a no-brainer, unless companies are still worried about vanity metrics and appearing to have tens of thousands. It practically does nothing for your business, and then if you do get some deals, if people dig, they'll find out it wasn't real. Um, so I wanted to ask you: I know there's a couple tools that you can use to find, scan accounts to do fake followers. Is there any that you use for Instagram or?
I
Twitter
honestly,
follower one for Twitter. We use that a lot.
yeah, I mean, there's way more tools for, it feels like, legit tools for Twitter than there are for Instagram because of Instagram's kind of lack of they don't want to give outside vendors, third party vendors accessibility. Like Twitter almost kind of doesn't care.
Yeah.
They care a little bit now these days, but over the years they definitely have pretty much had like an open API. Like anybody, third party, could like access Twitter's data for, you know, these tools that would follow, unfollow really
Right.
quickly and all that. Instagram has been much more picky, which is good and bad. But for those types of things, honestly, I do it natively. I do it organically,
Yeah,
personally,
that
because
that
I
was
just, I
my
mean, I don't know about you, Adam, but I can tell if I can
Mhm.
I scroll through like someone's followers, I can generally tell because there are some tells of a lot of fake accounts. Everyone's gonna have some. There's no getting away from it because there's a lot of bots out there. There's a lot of fake accounts that just follow other accounts for the fake strategy of
Mhm.
follow, unfollow. That's what these bots do, right? So everybody has fake accounts. I don't fault people for having fake followers at a certain level, but once it gets past a number,
Right.
a lot of those, then you have to start to question, well, what did this person do? And you can look at their follower count. If you really want to pay attention, if someone's follower count goes up and down by specific numbers, and you do see this, like an account will go up in followers by 200 and then 2 days later it's down 200.
Right.
That's, again, it may not be any fault of their own, probably isn't in a lot of those cases.
That
But
was a similar answer
yeah,
that I gave too. I'm like, if they have tons of followers and no engagement, if you just
right.
scan through and you could tell, like you could tell these fake accounts.
That's the immediate tell, is the engagement part, where if they have tens of thousands or thousands or hundreds of thousands of followers and they have, you know, 40 likes on a post, that's not typical of someone that has
Yeah.
a true
Well,
following.
and you're right. You can buy engagement, like engagement as well. But I guess everyone on the panel said don't do it, but yet it's still a trend, or like it's still like it's available. Let's just say that you can
Yeah,
go buy
it is.
followers. So like I mentioned to you, the one company I worked with for a while, they, going in there, boom, there's like 30,000 fake followers, and it takes a long time to clean those out.
Right.
Or what's the point? And it's really vanity. Like it's like we want to have the appearance of that. So, anyways, that was one of the things that came up on the panel. Hopefully, I got through to some people. It's more about building an authentic community that you actually know, being part of that community, going in and commenting and playing off hashtags and participating. Um, Especially if you're a small business. And the other one that we mentioned were, oh yeah, they talked a lot about hashtags. So we talked about this before. A local cafe was using all kinds of just coffee hashtags, wasn't getting anybody in the door.
Hmm.
But when they started, beautiful photos, but then they found the actual hashtags for that food community, geolocation food community for Phoenix, and then they could get on those feeds,
Right.
they were bringing people in the door. But it's a lot of like different strategy that people were saying that yeah, I don't know. I don't fault anybody because you're thinking like, how do I grow this? Or that's the biggest question. How do I grow this? Well, there's a couple different ways. Um, the more authentic way typically takes time.
Hmm.
Um, the other thing that
Time,
came
and
up
not just time, but also bandwidth and commitment and plan.
now, I'll leave the influencer thing in a second because I know you have something on that too. One thing that I actually was pleased to hear, heard it twice, that you don't have to be on every single channel. So find the channels that work for you.
Hmm.
That was refreshing to hear. And because you and I agree, even though as social marketers, we want to be on every channel. um, the other one, oh, channel specific content. That was the first time that I've really heard that outside of our conversations. Don't know if people actually do that
Mm,
because, again, bandwidth. But it's definitely something to think about for having specific channel for each content, not reposting the same thing.
right.
Um, because we did talk about Reels, and reposting TikToks was the first thing that came up.
Of course. I don't have the data on Reels. I haven't investigated it any further. The general feeling seems to be one way at least among marketers, which, for whatever that's worth. I do see people using them. Like if I'm on Instagram, I look on now of the several accounts that I manage, how they're all always testing the functionality and the buttons and everything. So a couple of them do have the Reels button now in the middle of the bottom toolbar. So that Instagram's testing pushing that in front of people in a bigger way to get them to watch it. But I'll say this, Adam, I know I just texted this to you tonight. I don't understand it, but I'll just put it out there. The Social Media Club Phoenix Instagram account, that is one of the several that I manage. When Reels came out, I thought I would run a test and experiment, see what happens. Literally, I set out from the beginning to do this to see what happened. I honestly did not think much was going to happen. But when Reels came out, it was sometime in the middle of August. The first post I put up was either on day 1 or 2 of Reels being out. August 19th. It was a TikTok. It was a TikTok from Run Buddy Mobile, which is a dog running company that they drive their van with the treadmills in it to your house. And the dogs come on the treadmill. You pay them, for every time they come out, and the dogs run on the treadmill. It's super cool, and it's awesome TikTok content. I just happened to see that, and I was like, okay, let me just pop that in there. And immediately on an account that had 600 something followers, it had 4,000 plus views within a day or two. And I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. that follows in line with what Facebook and Instagram kind of typically does whenever they release some new feature, is they
give preference.
They give preference. They try to pump it up. Yeah. They've done this a number of times, right? Instagram stories, of course. I mean, we could go down the list, but anyway, so that one posted. So I was like, okay, let me try this again. So next day, found another one that I liked, and these are TikToks that they weren't particularly supremely viral TikTok videos.
They're not yours. You're downloading them and resharing them, right?
I'm downloading, yes, because TikTok is the smartest of the bunch and allows you to actually save, or gives the user the option to let other people save the video and share
with their branding.
With their branding. Super smart. I mean, TikTok learned from everybody else, no question. But yeah, so these are ones I've downloaded from TikTok from other users. I don't know the people. I don't know the accounts. In a lot of cases, I don't even follow them. They're just on my For You page, and they're funny or they're interesting, whatever. So the next day I did another one, got another couple thousand views right away. I kept trying it. And then somewhere around like the 4th or 5th, I think, one that I posted, boom, like 18,000 views in a couple days, right? I'm like, okay, I'm going to keep going with this and just see where we can go. Posted some more, another few thousand views. Posted another one, 50,000 views.
That's
next
wild.
one, 100,000 views. So now we're at the point of, there's like, I don't know, 15 videos on there right now. They do die off at some point. Like those first few that I posted, they stopped, right? For the most part. There's others that I have posted. One stopped at like 375,000 views. That was like 2 weeks ago. I posted one the other night. It's up to almost 600,000 views. There's a couple with 200. So in the end, here's what happened. The two main things that happened is the account 4x'd in followers. When it's now up above 2,400 followers as of today from 600 something in mid-August. This is mid-October. So in 60 days, for whatever that's worth. And then right now, if you total up all the views across all those reels on the account, it's, as of now, over 2 million total across all the various videos. So do with that what you will. I don't. There's other accounts that I manage that I tried this on. Did not do that.
With
Do
what
not
type of
perform this way.
content?
Huh?
With what type of content?
Same stuff.
Hmm.
Same type of stuff. I don't know if it's because I did that on the first day and it got into some sort of algorithmic preferential place within Instagram, and now it's just in that loop. Because everything that I posted, even if not on the first time, it hasn't blown up. There's still, all of them are getting at least like a couple thousand views, which is at this point, I mean, you know, the number of followers is over 2,000, 2,400. So it's like it's not reaching those followers necessarily. It's just being seen that many times in the grand reels feed. I don't know. I don't really have a detailed data-based explanation for it. I'm just reporting what I'm seeing.
You're saying, I think it's kind of both and. I think your account got traction and grew. So if you're someone trying this out, just know that you're sharing previously semi-viral or not necessarily viral, but you caught your eye. So you're resharing that. One thing I'll say, I think that's completely on brand, because Social Media Club, you're sharing the best of social. I think it's right on brand.
We've been documenting it. I've been posting it on Twitter.
Yeah, and then
that too, like updating.
This stuff is going up because I think it's similar content as far as it caught your eye, and it did okay on TikTok. But then I did hear that Instagram is kind of like making their own discovery algorithm like TikTok, so that you'll, like, for instance, when you share a TikTok clip with me, say it's like out, way out there.
Yeah,
it'll mess my entire feed up for like 2 days. Like, all I'll get is the same type of stuff that you
really
just sent me. Oh yeah, like
for that long?
I would say I'm gonna get, like, say you sent me like
a political thing or something.
Yeah, like if somebody else sent me this one, I got like woodworking ones for like 2 days, and then there's like a food one, and I'll get like, so like it just goes in because it recognizes you're watching certain content for longer, and I know that for Reels, they're unlike the Instagram feed, unlike Stories or IGTV. Reels is deploying a very similar algorithm. They're gonna keep tweaking it. I mean, I think even like Reels layout now, I saw that on Twitter that they updated it to look identical to, or it will look identical if it's not already, to TikTok.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's
look,
pretty interesting.
For the record, Reels to me is idiotic. I'll say that. I'll just straight up. I think it's dumb. It's the it's the culmination of Facebook, Instagram, just basically copying. I mean, it is literally just a straight copy minus some of the features that TikTok offers, involving like the music, especially, in the trends and stuff. But it's like such a ripoff and a transparent attempt to be like, oh hey, come use it over here. Like, you're already on Instagram, don't go on TikTok and use it. When in the meantime, guess who's smarter is TikTok, because from the beginning and even now, you can take those and you can share your TikToks. You can share TikToks that you see directly into Instagram stories. There's people that they don't even go on TikTok. They see all the TikToks on Instagram.
Right.
And that's gonna kill Instagram, because
wait, is there gonna be a creator fund for you for sharing TikToks and you start making money off of resharing popular?
And now, did you see Snapchat? So Snapchat came out with a TikTok-ish music integration.
A little late, probably.
Yeah. And it's kind of dumb. I think that's also kind of dumb. And I'm a Snapchat fan. Like, I still say that they're innovators. I think that, and I know, Adam, you feel that way as well. But on that one, I'm surprised that they're doing that, because they have absolutely benefited from TikTok, and vice versa, of course, because everything is so shareable and people it's kids especially. Kids are using Snapchat to communicate. That's
Right.
how they're texting and they're sharing stuff and they're sharing TikToks back and forth in Snapchat. That's a big
Mhm.
part of what they do. And that's part of why TikTok grew so much and why Snapchat is still a big deal to be used because you can do that. It works together. So for them to do that type of a feature, I think is silly. I
Yeah,
don't. I'll be curious to see how it's used. To be honest,
I did say on that webinar, one thing I did encourage people to do is, like, as we always do, like, test it out. Like, test it out.
sure.
I don't think I think people were surprised that there's so many quote unquote tools inside, video tools, video products,
Yes.
inside Instagram. So you could, you know,
Well, any of those platforms. I mean, Snapchat, Instagram, even TikTok. Like
yeah,
you can use those as tools, even if you're not posting. And we've talked about this a million times. Even if you're not posting on them as your brand, you can still do something to be creative and use Instagram stories or TikTok
mhm.
or Snapchat stories or Snapchat snaps to create and post those on the channels that you are using.
Yeah, and I would say, like, the biggest thing is, like, if your audience isn't there, don't do it. But doesn't
Right.
mean don't try it, don't test.
Right.
But that's where you're gonna get into it. Or, um, people were asking about Instagram, what's it for good for business? And that varies. You've probably seen this as well. Like, you're either going to build your brand, and it's gonna be like a brand and culture type situation, not sales. Or it's going to be like behind the scenes connecting with your customers, or it could be direct to consumer, like
Mhm.
sales. It doesn't have to be there doesn't have to be like a sales goal behind it. A lot of times it's just a great way to I follow a lot of companies on Instagram because it's behind the scenes.
Right.
It humanizes them to me a little bit more, or it's funny content.
It definitely differs based on the type of business you are and the size because someone like say Pepsi, right? Pepsi uses it. It's a brand thing. Maybe they have, you know, fun offers or campaigns that they're running at one time or another. But their actual Instagram account, if you look at it, it's an absolute branding thing. Every one of their posts, I believe, has either the color blue, the Pepsi blue color, or the logo somehow. I think it's usually the blue. That's what it is. It's usually that the blue is somewhere, somehow in the image on the main feed we're talking here.
hmm
And so that's Pepsi. Like they're a humongous brand. They're they're selling, but
Right.
that's the Instagram account is for their existing probably the customers that are more closer to the loyalty section of the funnel.
Well, I think people forget
It's
that
not an
too.
awareness thing generally unless it's like trying to catch people in a certain moment.
Like traditional marketing, when people were going from magazine to billboard to TV, as you drove to the game, you have to that the person has to see it 3, 4, 5 times in order to it's in your brain
Right.
for the point of decision. And I think people lose that. Um, and that's why we always say don't post the same thing on the same all the same channels because you typically someone's driving to the game and they see a Pepsi commercial and an ad and a billboard, it's not going to be the same, exactly the same. Um, one other thing I want to talk to you about. The other thing that got brought up a lot was like influencer marketing,
Mhm.
and so I kind of wanted to get your take on that because rightly so, I don't have a huge background in that. I built a brand with what I would consider micro influencers, but
You've built multiple brands.
this was before you had to pay people. Like they either loved your brand and they just wanted to rep it. I did send a few people free product, and I would feature them, spotlight them, and grow their following as part of that. But I never um, I never drop cash to like because oftentimes, and I want to ask your take on this. What I see is it just a lot of what I see is it's a cringe factor. I
Mhm.
feel like the with things that's being advertised, it says paid ad or whatever. It's not authentic. It's not real. And I have a few examples where I feel like it is really real. But I mean, what do you think?
I would agree with the whole yes yes and uh, aspect, right? The influencer marketing is not dead and it's not dying. Certain
Right.
types of influencer marketing are not as effective as they were a couple years ago, and certainly several years ago. I think I do think that, and you'll hear this term a lot. I mean, I know you've heard this. I don't know. I think maybe even just said it about the micro influencers.
Yeah.
And people throw around like a nano influencer title. It's like whatever the linguistics are, not logistics, linguistics. Whatever semantics you want to use. The power right now has I feel like it's definitely shifted to the people that are already, or back to the people that are already your customers, they're already your brand champions, they love your product, and they're already referring
Right.
you to people that ask or that don't ask. I mean, it's like the whole third party verification, word of mouth, that will never go away. That will never go away, and that is all part of influencer marketing. But what's changing now is, yes, we have so many people that have been online now, and now we have a whole generation, Gen Z right now, and even coming up behind them, whatever that next generation is going to be, that we call them alpha, gen, whatever, like, and then add millennials to that, and even Gen X. we've all we're all very much a lot more savvy when it comes to this stuff than boomers, let's say, and even a lot of Gen X people. It's We've grown up with it. We've seen, we're hip to marketing. The people that are not in advertising and marketing, because they've been all over social media for all these years. They've seen it. They know Facebook serves ads to them. Now there's movies and documentaries about how the advertising gets served to the average person on these channels. So they know that this celebrity is doing this, or they know that this person, when they see that person, they know when it's a commercial, not even a celebrity per se. It's like an industry person, because
Right.
it's so prevalent. Even when someone doesn't put hashtag sponsored, a hashtag ad, or partnership
Which
with,
legally they have to do.
right? I mean, they're supposed to. Everybody doesn't, not even close still. But I really think that there's a ton of room for the smaller quote unquote influencers. Really, it's more the existing customer base brand ambassadors. Like, why wouldn't you want to amplify the people that are already loyal and behind you, to take what they're doing, which is authentic, and put it out there in a way that, yeah, you're compensating them for it, and they admit that. But also, everybody knows already that they know that they've been with this for a while. It's not just, oh, today it was this, tomorrow it's this company, and it's the same industry.
Right.
It's like this. There's not this switch. So I think there's absolutely ways to do it now with smaller people, in terms of their networks and their communities, and that also can go relatively viral, if for what that's worth. If you want to call it viral, there's a virality within a community, even a city, right? Like, let's say the valley here, Greater Phoenix. Like, if you talk to or have the right people that have been customers of yours, been behind your brand, for them to talk about it, it is authentic, even if they put hashtag ad on it.
Sure.
It's like, makes sense.
Well, I think and maybe that's your nano, micro, all that, but like everybody influences everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of it was like user generated content. Like, people love you, they tag you up, and you reshare it, so you give them a shout out. Then it moves up. I think a lot of the ones I like a lot are like partnerships. You can see that it's a little bit more thoughtful, and or really odd, but I don't know. Do you subscribe to the Hustle? Do you get the Hustle?
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's one that came in today. It's about a tiny direct-to-consumer company that hacked its way to $500,000 a month in sales. If you haven't read it, I totally forgot. I read the entire thing today. It's about just about what we're talking about, but it's a peanut butter company called Nerdy Nuts, and all these different weird flavors of peanut butter. There's a whole story there. Anyways, he originally went to Instagram. All these influencers gave him pricing sheets and promised him all these impressions, and um, then he went to just found two people that were he dove further into the peanut butter world on TikTok, and found two people that were really interested. Well, he said, "Hey, can I send you a bunch of peanut butter?" And they were like over the hills, like crazy. And then he did something like just tens and tens of thousands of dollars in like an hour, and then he ended up splitting the profit with him. He split
Nice.
the proceeds with him, and the one lady
Great.
was like, the lady was like, "Oh, this is more than my husband's military check." So like she
Wow.
was like blown away. So that kind of situation is like, if you read the article, and if actually we probably link to it, I'll send it to you if you don't have it.
Yes.
It's a great deep dive into these tactics, and then they layered on certain things TikTok only. They layered on certain things like building in scarcity, so limited drops, like sneaker drops, but limited drops for peanut butter.
Sure.
And then they made like Ben and Jerry's. They made all these flavors, but instead of all the funny, funky names, it was like all the presidential candidates. Sold out of all those,
Oh, I
and
mean, those are collector items, even.
yeah. And then they couldn't even like keep up because it was just out of their garage. Then they decided Sunday only. They're going to open their web store, their Shopify store for Sunday only. Did
Wow.
$500,000 in
Love
1
it.
hour. So it's like, but it was spending the time finding the channel, and of all places, I got to go find this peanut butter TikTok because I've never seen it. Like that got them all these sales. It's crazy. But what they didn't do is they didn't have some beautiful photo shoot on Instagram and somebody's holding their peanut butter jar or
Right.
whatever. So I think it's just more authentic. Like there's another one that I know they're sponsored, but the content is so good. I've mentioned him a few times, named Bobby, but on Instagram it's Flav City, and he does all these cooking demos, and he
Yep.
uses all the tools. But he may do a behind the scenes on Instagram stories, and then he'll push you to YouTube for his live when he goes live, or he'll about a week or two later, then he'll post the video on Instagram to IGTV. So he's using it in all these different ways.
Right.
But I know that he makes money two different ways: affiliate, so he recommends his favorite products. Use his code to go buy this,
Sure.
meat subscription. But then one was particularly interested. It's like the machine that helps you cook these recipes. You put everything in, and he cooks it. Well, they worked with him to take some of his recipes, and it had like this little digital screen on the front.
Mm-hmm.
They put his recipes inside the machine.
Wow.
So it was like more, and he produced so many videos and tutorials with that machine. So it was I know he was getting paid for it, but it was of such value. It was true to his brand. It was on brand.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to
Yeah,
say.
it makes total sense. It's a perfect fit.
He wasn't selling weight loss tea, and he's even cleaner example because he has his Bobby seal of approval, and he will not approve certain packaged goods food unless it has certain good ingredients and sugar, carbs, all that kind of stuff. So
Right.
He's turned down a lot of lucrative deals because they didn't meet his seal of approval. He couldn't recommend it to his fan base. So anyways, that for me, I love seeing more stuff like that. One thing that we've been talking about for like, it seems like weeks, but it probably isn't. But like some really good social involving OceanSpray and a really cool chill dude.
Yeah, let's get into that because that ties right in with this whole influencer marketing,
but kind of in
piece
reverse
way.
though.
Yeah, but in reverse, yes, because yes. So the do you want to do the backstory? Or you want me to?
Yeah, set it up.
The backstory is, for anyone that's listening to this somehow that has not heard or seen of this person, is a gentleman on TikTok that he does a lot of videos of kind of him dancing to different songs and music and stuff. And his name is Nathan Apodaca. Apodaca.
I
His
didn't even know his real name. I just know him as Dogface.
his handle is 420 Dogface with 2 G's 208. That's his handle on TikTok, and he's pretty well known. So that part I think gets left out a lot. Is he did have a following on TikTok already before this happened. So what happened was, and I didn't know his backstory until I sent you that article. There's a good NPR article.
One thing I'll tell you, true. I saw his video, a different video, different song months ago.
Yep.
He is on a longboard, kind of. He doesn't have any hair, but he's kind of like leaning back, chilling. It's a mood. It's a mood, and he's longboard, and you could put music behind it. So I saw it months ago, and this was like kind of a take two because it was still like same aesthetics, going down the street, longboarding, leaning back, singing a song, but with a bottle of OceanSpray.
Yeah, but then this one was a little different because I had seen his stuff before too on TikTok here and there. Honestly, for me, it wasn't like anything striking. Like it was just a dude, doing his thing. It was a mood, like you said. Had a lot of followers, had a lot of views. Even then, but the other day, well, this is now a couple weeks ago. The story goes, the backstory is that he was on his way to work, and his truck broke down. He lives in Idaho. He works at a potato factory, I believe. He was on his way to work.
It checks out.
Yes. And his truck broke down, his pickup truck. And so he had his longboard in the back, and he happened to have like a bottle of OceanSpray cran-raspberry in the car, in the truck with him. So he hopped on he was like 2 miles from his job. And so he decided, well, I'll just longboard there. And he hopped on the longboard. He was drinking the OceanSpray, and he does TikTok a lot. So it made sense. It was his on brand for him. Like he did it. He just filmed himself rolling down the street, really the highway almost. You see, it's like a selfie view, and to the song "Dreams" by Fleetwood Mac. And at the end of it, his explanation was that like he wasn't lip syncing or anything until the very end because he couldn't even hear it. He said it was going, but he couldn't hear it because of the wind. And then all he could hear was the end of it there, and that's when he lip synced the last couple words of the part that he did the video to. So that video went viral. It blew up, millions and millions of views. And because people felt that whole mood, it was a vibe. It was like felt really positive, and he got a ton of views. I mean, it was one of those things that if you haven't seen it, go check it out. Go on TikTok, go on his Instagram. You can see it easily because all these other people, there's like 134,000 quote unquote tribute videos. So TikTok, a lot of people will, if something's popular, like a meme, they will go and do it also. Copy it. So there's like 134,000 of those. There's all the TikTok.
And it's tied to her song, or Fleetwood Mac. It's tied to their song.
Yeah, entirely. And so Fleetwood Mac had their best ever week on streaming. There's the song hit the Billboard charts again after all these decades of not being up there. So I mean, there was all that. All these celebrities started doing versions of it. Cheech and Chong did a version of it. They like called him and did a FaceTime with the guy. Stevie Nicks and Mick Fleetwood created TikTok accounts and did a version of it.
And she's like a Luddite. She doesn't even own a phone or anything that she got on.
Yeah, and it's been really cool.
And he just wants to spread joy. Like he just loves. Right.
Yeah, he lives in a trailer, I think, with his daughter in Idaho. Not really well off. I think it's documented. Like he's not rich by any means, but even living in a trailer, like working in a factory, living his life, doing his TikTok thing. because his daughter got him on it at one point. So what ended up happening was, and I'm going to interject one thing we have our notes here. There's something that's not on the notes that I forgot about. Within our world of social media marketing, there was a person, I forget her name or handle or anything, but like 2 days after that went viral, there was a girl had a tweet. She was like, she retweeted the video, and she was like all about, she tagged OceanSpray, and she's like, oh my God, OceanSpray, if you're not, what do you, I think they're really missing the boat here with not doing
Yeah, like you're
something
sleeping on it.
Yeah. And it's like everybody that's in this industry that saw that was replying. For the most part, I would say about 80% of the replies were like, relax.
Hook them up.
Well, no, people were like, relax. Because like with this, like calling them out, first of all, you're calling out like a company, a brand, a person or a team. Like, you don't know what they're doing. I'm sure they've seen it. It's been everywhere. It's viral. They know it clearly says OceanSpray. Like, the brand is there. Honestly, if they never did anything, I would think it would have been even okay, because they didn't have to like take advantage of this.
Well, and
for
I
like
went
a
on their
marketing
Instagram.
purpose.
I went on their different channels, and it was out for like a good week or so, and where people were doing tribute
Yeah.
videos.
Yeah.
They weren't sharing anything. They weren't reposting.
They didn't have to, right? They didn't have
Yeah.
to. The brand is already, it's everywhere. That third party verification.
Sold out on the shelves.
It's all there. So now in the end, they took their time, right? And I really love how they handled it. I do. I think they did it the right way. They took their time. They're like, we're not gonna just retweet this and say, we're glad you love OceanSpray. Like,
Right,
they didn't do that crap. They drove up to the guy's house and bought him a new truck and filled the back with OceanSpray, and I think a new longboard too. But like, it was a cool thing. Like, did they take advantage of it on a marketing sense? They did, but they bought the guy a new truck.
They got him what he needed.
Yeah.
And the whole reason he was on the board in the first place is because his truck
broke down.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so but they also took their time. They didn't just jump in and make it like this, it has to happen right now. They obviously took their time. They obviously on the back end met as a company, had people get together and be like, what should and can we do? What would I can Adam, you've been in these meetings. Like, you're sitting there, and someone was probably like, we should do this and that. And then the smarter people in the room were like, well, why don't we do this? Why don't we do this instead? This makes much more sense. This is more on brand. This is not tone deaf.
He just gave us $200 million in earned media. What do you think we should do?
Yeah.
Yep. I wonder if someone found it first, or they saw that they were selling out of OceanSpray on shelves, and it was like, what's going on here?
I'm sure someone I don't know that people necessarily ran out and bought OceanSpray from seeing the video, right? Like,
apparently now it's sold out.
Well, now for sure.
Yeah.
But I don't, like, right away, I don't know.
Probably not, right? Because he was doing the same longboarding type videos before, just with no products in it or anything.
And if anything, people were buying it to do the video, to make their own video.
There's been some funny ones, like the one guy with the pumpkin head on. And he was like,
was that Starbucks? Oh, he had Starbucks in his hand.
Yeah, he just poured it all over his face.
He had a pumpkin latte, Starbucks, and he had a jack-o'-lantern pumpkin thing on his head and like a Halloween sweater. That one went viral. That was a big one. I looked
at that one. That all of their stuff was like costume Halloween makeup stuff. So they just recreated it on brand.
Yep. And if you go on TikTok, I mean, I still saw another one last night. There's still there was a lot of funny ones. There was one I saw my wife, like a guy on a skateboard, and he had a tray, and he had, everybody won't get this, but here in the Southwest and Mexico, there are these drinks called aguas frescas, and there's a guy that they come in like, it looks like it's like the shape of a clear beehive, right? That's what the container looks like.
I knew exactly what it was when I saw it. I was like, this is amazing.
Oh yeah, totally. And the guy had this big giant container of Jamaica, which is like it's like a cranberry juice ish drink actually. That's an aguas frescas, a Mexican drink and beverage, and it's like a juice. It's a fresh juice. It's like delicious, a little bitter, but it's like cranberry juice. And he's got it on a tray in a big giant container, pouring it from the pitcher into his glass, and it's like the the aguas frescas version of the ocean spray. That was, I think he might have spilled it too, but there was a lot that people did. And then we saw him. What do we see him in the other day on Instagram?
Oh yeah, he filmed a commercial for I didn't even know the store had tons of change. It's a little mini mart. Uh, Apparently he's shooting commercials. I don't know if you saw this, but I was watching a major news network and a TikTok commercial came on with Fleetwood Mac song. I only heard the song. I don't know if it was him in it. Wendy said, "Oh, it's that guy." So maybe they featured him.
Yeah, I think they've put his. I've seen some TikTok commercials, in general, like during football, during on Sundays, during football Sundays, and I have it on YouTube TV. Like that's where I watch it, and I've seen some TikTok commercials. They've definitely started running ads, just showing just general ads. But I've seen him in an ad.
I don't think his story is over though. I think I saw one today where Jay and Silent Bob duetted him.
Saw that. Yep.
Because we have the same feed, you and I.
Well, it's also a viral. All these viral ones, they end up in your feed in everybody's feed.
But so this is interesting. So brand wise, like you hit on this a little bit. When something goes viral like this, the closest thing I could think of back a while ago would be like the ice bucket challenge, and all the brands were getting on the ice bucket challenge. This is different. Like I see now there's these trends. So instead of a meme, it's like TikTok video, and it's trending. And then as a brand, if it fits, you could actually recreate it because typically they're pretty feel good. They're just fun, and you're part of the subculture. And I think if that was your brand voice, you could be recreating this. What's the news publication I always send you? Is it Washington Post on TikTok? The guy.
Oh yeah, Dave Jorgensen.
I mean, his stuff is like it's great. I love it.
Yeah. No, he's been. I mean, I was lucky to meet him at Social Fresh last November. He was one of the reasons I wanted to go to that, was because I wanted to talk to him a little bit. And I mean, Washington Post, they were like that on Snapchat though too. They were one of the early adopters because they recognized the opportunities of reaching younger audience, which is what they need to do as the Washington Post. They need to let the younger audience know that the news exists.
But it's not like other ones where I see this one lady pop up all the time, and she actually gives the breakdown of the news stories of the day, like literally anchor style. Not like that at all.
Yep, I think I've seen that one. The one you're talking about.
This guy is stuck in his quarantine in his house doing funny videos.
Yeah, no, he's doing like the TikTok trends as the guy with the Washington Post, and then working in the Post brand like into the trends. But it's real. Like it's not forced. He's been doing it for a while now, so it's a lot of people.
Some are produced. Some are, I mean, are
yeah,
produced.
They're produced. They are. But he's making them. Like that's the thing. Like they're produced, but it's because he knows how to do it. Because he's been doing it for a year and a half. That's his job. That's it.
Yeah. Wow.
Like he's good at it. So it's interesting. There's TikTok. I mean, we're kind of diving in on TikTok a little bit, but it's so unique, and yet it's this huge melting pot of like almost every social media platform into this one like best platform right now, without sort of some of the negatives of others. Not that it's not negative at all, but there's like it's very positive in a lot of instances, but it's also so large. It covers so much ground. There's so many different areas.
People joke like you've reached a farmer talk, or
Yeah.
you've reached Canadian cheese talk,
Yep.
because like it's so deep. Like you don't know. Like you'll send me a weird video, and then I'll, like I said, my feed will be recurated. But in some ways, it's like early Twitter where you can find your tribe. Like if you start curating, you could follow those people, and then like the people who are making these videos, like I'll see like a variety of cooking ones, like the one that Gordon Ramsay did that wants to roast your cooking videos. But like
Oh, he's
one
been
guy,
he's been doing great.
and one guy, like he doesn't have pro lighting, he doesn't have, but he's a really good cook, and he's still doing these recipes. But I wanted to transition this a little bit, because I think this is a social, how you social is changing a bit for brands. And I wanted to bring up Steak-umms, since you're the future doctor, PhD, Reverend Social.
uh,
I'm just giving you random university titles.
yeah, I
Some
know
are
that.
some are
I
university.
know. That would
But
be funny if I got a PhD in social media eventually in
that'd be
my life,
amazing.
though.
But you're doing a paper on Steak-umms, and you've been long on Steak-umms, big Steak-umms fan follower. But it's not because the meat-based product; it's because of their tweets.
They're social. It's funny. I'm in the master's program for digital audiences at Cronkite School at ASU, and I just started 6 or 7 weeks ago. My first class just ended. The second one just started. The first class was we had to pick a brand that we were going to focus on for the whole um, half a semester or whatever, and I picked Steak-umm because I couldn't think of any better one to pick that would be more interesting and to dive into, because I had never really, dove into there. I've been following them, and we talked about them a million times. And again, at Social Fresh last November, part of the reason I went was because the guy, one of the people, the main person, Nathan, who runs the the social media for Steak-umm, was there, and I got to meet Nathan. That was super cool. Awesome dude. I wish I had more time to hang out at that event, or that we both had more time. Um,
I love that you love pictures of Steak-umm and grilled cheese recipe, or cheesesteak recipes, so much. This is fascinating that
well,
this is your obsession.
well, dude, look, we're both East Coast. In
That's
fact,
not what
you're
they
from
post.
Pennsylvania.
True story. I did
So
not know they were from there, but I do remember eating them often.
yeah, East Coast. They're absolutely an East Coast based company, originated, and I remember them from when I was a kid. And then they kind of came back because of the social media. Like that was part of the
But
comeback.
obviously, we're not talking about them today because they post recipes and photos of Steak-umms, because they don't.
Well, so listen. I paid a lot more attention to everything that they did. Now
I'm looking it up.
They absolutely have user generated content and they're retweeting. Look at their Twitter. Look at the Twitter. Don't look at the Instagram, because this is something I discovered. The Instagram is very different than the Twitter, right? The Instagram they're not as focused on Instagram. Twitter is where they live. They live on Twitter. I would say they also now live pretty heavily on TikTok, which makes sense because they're super weird and quirky, and the content is weird and makes sense on TikTok. On Twitter, though, they've definitely gained a following. I mean, I started following them. They were not. How many followers are they at now? Over 100,000.
Yeah,
right.
168,000 on Twitter. Yeah.
When I started following them, and
people
were
are Casey Neistat's following them. People are sleeping on them.
No one's sleeping on them anymore. I mean,
this is good content.
The big one, it's happened a couple times, but the big one that happened was earlier this year, around the start of like April, like at the start of COVID.
Second time you mentioned it. Just joking.
And they put out a tweet. It might even still be pinned on their Twitter about
it is.
Yeah. What does it say, since you got it open?
Friendly reminder: in times of uncertainty and misinformation, anecdotes are not data. Good data is carefully measured and collected information based on a range of subject-dependent factors, including but not limited to controlled variables, meta-analysis, and randomization. I think it's a thread. Oh, it's a thread.
It's a thread. It is a thread.
And I will say, I do follow a lot of scientists and epidemiologists specifically on Instagram, or sorry, Twitter, and they follow Steak-umm's account.
Yep.
So
Yep.
like Epi Ellie is one of the people I follow. She has always good stuff about COVID.
Yep.
There's all these scientists
Yeah.
that are following
Because
account.
so what
it's the
they
voice
did,
of reason.
yeah, I mean, literally, and they've been that way for a while, not just since then. Every once in a while, what happens is like when the protests in June happened. Whenever there's been like stuff that's happened over especially the last couple of years during this particular administration, um, in the White House, like they have these commentaries
Mm-hmm.
every once in a while that are like, it's not fake philosophy. It's this like introspective, keeping it real moment. And it's like it breaks the fourth wall almost on Twitter.
This
Because normally
last
they're
one,
making these Steak-umm jokes all the time. Like meat.
yeah. Well, and memes. The ones on Instagram I see, they're memes, which makes sense. Yeah, a lot of more informational stuff is ending up on Instagram too, versus like beautiful photos all the time. But one of their last pieces about managing cognitive dissonance. It goes on about confronting and acknowledging our own hypocrisy, and it goes all the way down like holding on to beliefs in your mind,
Yeah.
dualism.
Yep.
This is what's so great. It's like, but over time, it can lead to healthier outcomes. Steak-umm's bless.
Yep. Steak-umm bless is their
And then-
their hashtag.
The next one is just a tweet on the last thread. Buy our frozen meat stuff.
Yes. and then the next tweets for like weeks are gonna be jokes about steak and meat and
Yes, this
Yeah.
one was who's this? Thanks again, frozen meat brand.
right.
Listen to the convenient food. Listen to this convenience food for it speaks truth.
And they have a smart audience too. Like this is a brand that knows their audience. They've created this audience from the beginning. And part of it is absolutely the people behind it. The people behind it are very entrenched and have been for a long time in internet culture. It's like very entrenched. I can't even stress it enough. They any of the old school memes, channels, like they know this stuff and they
they're on
reference it. Yeah, they reference it, even though like everybody's not going to get what they're talking about, but certain factions will. Certain people will understand like that they're talking about this meme from 2011.
Insert clever Twitter went down tweet.
Right. Right. So here's the thing. So just to tie it back together, the class that I was featured them for and talked about them for, I had to do like a bunch of projects, and it was focused on them, on their audiences and what they were doing, and they they've been featured in like Adweek and I want to say, I don't know if it was the New York Times or Post or like a major, not just Adweek, but like other major publications about this, about how they're doing social media, because they are being very real oftentimes and providing this like solace for some people to they crack back on or clap back on like brand marketing. They on themselves essentially. It's like they're in on the joke with the rest of us. And that's what's always really funny and ironic and all that. But the moral of the story is they put time and effort in a lot to this. Every year, since they started doing this, their sales have gone up year over year. I think it's something like they've increased 50% or doubled year over year every year. So there's a number of
Pretty
factors.
impressive for a
but
meat
social
brand.
media is a huge factor in what they're doing, because they're not doing TV ads, they're not doing radio ads, they're doing social media. They're not even. I don't see social media ads. I mean, that doesn't mean that they're not doing them, but I don't think that they really they really are, and if they are, they're doing very small, probably campaigns, because that company is also not like it's not part of Procter and Gamble or General Mills or anything. It's its own company. It's small, so that's why this is such a big deal for a small company like that um, to do this, to accomplish all this. And they're like people talk about the what's the one example that everybody goes to with Twitter in particular, right? Is Wendy's.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
Wendy's snark, and like
yeah.
Wendy's is so smart and all that. They've been Wendy's has been doing that same thing since 2012. Props to them. At this point, we all know what they're doing. Like, it's their brand personality. It's been 8 years. Kudos, but that's not the leader anymore.
Right,
I,
right.
I would say Steak-umm is, if not the leader, it's one of the leaders
Steak
in
and bliss.
in Twitter and social media as a whole. What if you haven't checked out their TikToks and you like quirky, weird stuff that's entertaining also? Nathan is also on there. He's the guy with the beard. You'll know him right away if you see him. He's the guy that wears the box on his head, which is the mascot for Steak-umm also.
They don't take themselves too
Dude,
seriously.
I could do hours on Steak-umm. I love
Well,
those
you
guys.
did for your report.
Yeah. Yeah. So
No, I find that interesting. I think I found out about it because of you. Like, you sent it over first, and was like, it's kind of refreshing in some way. I think, we talk about best practices, but there's this thing about posting times and all that kind of stuff. But there's content, and like I think breaking the mold is refreshing. I think it could be gimmicky, like if you just jump on it's a trend, but if it becomes part of who you are, your brand voice and your persona and all that, I think it's pretty cool. Um,
I mean,
we'll
they went
see.
down a whole road of uniqueness that no one else was doing.
100%.
Now, you'll see. I would say now, like uh, Moon Pie
Hmm.
is a similar one. That I don't know if they also, their little agency runs that account also. I don't know. That could be the case. Um, and then there's like some others that are these. It seems like it's these food products. So like DiGiorno's has a weird social media presence. Hot Pockets has a weird social media presence, and it's kind of like the frenemy. Hot
Hot
Pockets and Steak-umms
pockets.
have frenemies, are frenemies.
I don't
Like
know why
Steak-umm is always
there's
bagging
not
them.
a Steakums Hot Pocket. Do a collab. Look it
Maybe
up.
they did at one point. I don't know,
Can
but
you
but
imagine?
there's some cool stuff out there. Look, it goes back also to, we were talking about this earlier. The Like, if you're a small tiny business, and Steak-umm is not a tiny business, they're not a one stop, one location pizza place down the street, right? They're a brand. They've been around since the 70s, so there's a legacy there to a point. Um, if you're a small mom and pop little place, or not even a location, brick and mortar, just a small business, you're not gonna achieve what these other companies achieve, and you shouldn't market yourself in the same way. You shouldn't try to do the same things. If you're the pizza place down the street, you should not be trying to imitate Domino's and Pizza
Right.
Hut and all that. You're not gonna have the budget. You're not gonna have the bandwidth or the resources to do what Pizza Hut does, where they make their own sneakers where you can order the pizza from the sneaker, right? Um, it's you have the opportunity, if you're a business, a small business, to really try anything.
Yeah.
You can try anything that could work for your local area. That is where your customers are. You are
And you
you
could
are
reset. You could, like you
Yeah,
said, try lots of things. Like, you're not fixed. Um,
right. But you are dependent on your immediate loyal customers. Like, if you don't get them coming back, first of all, if your food isn't good, let's say if you're a pizza place specifically and your pizza's crap, you're out of luck. It doesn't matter the amount of marketing that you do.
yeah,
It's
that's
not
a
going to be
double-edged
it's not
sword.
going
If
to
your
work.
food is crap, you're probably not going to want to be that much out on social, because people are going to burn you about it. But that to a point, I was going to say, for the smaller ones, like, that is where you take the time and get to know your best customers, and get to know your people who are taking photos and sharing and commenting. Like, yes, the
Yes.
lifetime value of that customer you should invest time, effort, a like into that.
You should know when they're find some way to find out when's the birthdays.
Yeah, well, I
You
mean,
know.
there's a couple ways to cross-reference this. If you have a Square register, you pay 25 bucks a month to get their marketing analytics. It basically tells you, it puts all your customers into categories by bit what they spend. So there's a lot of things you can do. You can
Yeah.
use email marketing to send them specific things like, don't give me a coupon for a chocolate cake when I'd rather have a coupon for the appetizer. Like
Hmm.
and you would know that. You would know that based on that data. Um, so there's a lot of ways to cross-reference that. And then if you want to go further, yeah, in a non-creepy way, find them on social, and you can do anything you want. But you can say happy birthday, your 72nd most favorite customer.
Yeah. Look, I don't. Some of that stuff, it when we talk about it, maybe some people think it's a little creepy, but I also think that a lot of people, if they're getting something that's of value to them, they don't find it creepy. It's like like you said, if I know my customers and I do a location search within a mile or 5 miles of my business, and I see someone talking about their birthdays coming up or something, like, for you as the pizza place to go comment and be like, let us give you a free something, happy birthday. I don't know. There's a way to do it. There's
There
a way
is,
to do that.
and some of it's just, I mean, people call it social listening, but it's awareness. Like for my crafted goods company, I remember a couple years ago, actually, somebody that bought quite a bit of stuff from us didn't actually have anything to do with that, and another person who didn't buy anything from us ever, but they followed. One person got married and one person got a new job, and we both sent them. I mean, we lost money, but didn't matter, and they were overjoyed. We both sent them, a gift basket of stuff not
Hmm.
related to our company at all. But I was listening and seeing, like, I wanted to celebrate. They were very excited. There was like a picture of like their diploma or whatever. Um, so
It's
I
caring. Yeah,
yeah.
it's like you care about. It's not necessarily just a marketing thing. It's like no, this is part of, you're part of our community. Even if you haven't bought anything, like, you're following our account, you like something about us.
Well, and
So,
like I wanted to say like the crafted goods brand. So it's been on hiatus as well. But the other day, I started to do I don't know if you saw the photo or not. I started to do a small batch of wallets, about 150 or so. I'm like, you know what? So there's 4,500 followers. I know them.
mhm.
They're customers. I interacted with them before, during, and after the sale. I have known them now. I don't know if it's been 8 years or what, 6 years. It's been a lot of years. 6 years. Um, so I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna put this photo up of me, making these wallets. Um, they're still mid-stage, they're on the garage, but I'm like, let's see if this account's still alive. I haven't used it in a year, almost to the day, November 2nd. I haven't used the account in a year. So I put the photo up, got about 50 likes, and then all these things like, the king has returned. It's hilarious, and I know this guy, Nicholas. I know Nicholas, and he was. I would guess today you would call him one of our influencers. Takes the most amazing craft beer photos, and he started using our bottle opener. And then it was like, people were like, "Oh, I still have my wallet, from 6 years ago. I love these wallets. Had them for years, still rocking it." Um, there he is. Like, so so then I was like, all right, like, me being me, I want to see, like, is it, I get it. The feed gets less. So I put it up as a story, and then I wanted to see how much more it got. So I pinned it as a highlight. 276 views on the same photo. It said hi. That's all I said. Even in the comment, I was like, hi.
Yep.
um, but it's encouraging because it's fun for me because I went down through who was seen by 278, and I scrolled down through, and I recognized like all the names, like
Yep.
year after year after year. Like, but that's what it was. I mean, there are ways. Either you can do tactics, you can get lucky, or you just keep going. Just chip away at it and build something real, especially if it's meaningful to you. But now, if I re-engage this account, I'd probably drastically think differently about the content that I've pushed.
How so?
I mean, before it was just a lot of photos of wallets,
Right? The product, okay.
and then I shared user generated content. So every time I'd sell a bottle opener, had a specific hashtag, had over 10,000 hashtags on that one hashtag for the bottle opener, and yeah, I would just curate, reshare, spotlight. I would do a lot of spotlights, which is great because it would
Mhm.
like show people all these great new beers. Also, give a shout out to the people in their great photos, and people were putting my bottle opener in a photo. It was weird, but it became known as like the proper opener. That took a year and a half,
Yep.
and I didn't like try to go in there craft beer hashtag and say I'm gonna like stake my claim and pie. No, it already existed. I just became part of it. That's all. And it did take hours, but then um, I learned what really good beer was, and I made a lot of really good friends. Still today, some of them became my Facebook friends. Um, and I see things like they're up in the Pacific Northwest, and there's wildfires, and I see all these things that these people are doing that I was connected, right? And it
Yeah.
was a little bit more meaningful. I don't know how to change it differently. Probably, probably more of me actually.
Mhm.
So I think if you're, and I see that on TikTok a lot, people that are making something and their Etsy store blows up.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna say was it feels like a TikTok product now where because you'll see like that type of a thing where a TikTok video, a longer one, and it'll show the hands
Yeah,
making something or crafting something and then the final product. Or the other thing is, and you can't do this until you have 1,000 followers, but going live on TikTok, um, as you're making it, but you're like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you're just there, and your community is like popping in and out and talking with about whatever. Maybe they're asking you questions. Maybe you're taking it's almost like an AMA. Ask me anything about the products, about how you make it. Like it's it's there. Like that stuff is happening. And Instagram Live is like that too. Instagram
Hmm.
Live is like that too. That'd be interesting, man, to see if you did that. If like you went on
Well, I only have
IG Live and
125.
did
That's
that.
all I have left.
So? So what?
No, I might take you
Should
up on
do
that. I
it.
might try it out. Well, I want to see. That's the thing is like there's some I've seen that are kind of cheesy. There's a guy who makes this like thing that goes over his head. And he shaves his whole head. I feel like he's gonna cut his throat. Like it's insane. But his first video that I saw was like oh, it was off a meme. It was like one thing on Amazon that just makes sense. I bought on Amazon or something like that. But then I looked at the
Yep.
account. It was him. It's his product. But then it did make it. He went back and showed prototypes and stuff like that. But like, yeah, I noticed that a lot of people want to support crafters and makers. Um, yeah, I just don't know if I want to be like a cheesy ad like tired of your Costanza wallet.
Yes. Hey, that would be a really good tie-in.
This is like a wallet that thick. I'm like, wait, you guys even know who that is? I'm joking because they do because Seinfeld's on what, Hulu or Netflix or something.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
it's
watch it
on.
like,
It's and Curb. I mean, there's references,
yeah,
of course, but yeah, man. Well, I know we've been this we haven't been on in a while, so we've been
extended
going.
extended episode.
But well, not for us really. I don't think. I don't even know how long we've been going, but it feels like the usual time. You end of the show, tip of the week. Adam has something and I have something. I want to say I want to be ambitious and say that we will do another episode sometime in the 16 days before election day.
I think so.
So it can be election day related or not. It's totally up to you.
My tip of the
Yeah.
day, election day related.
Go ahead. Go for it. What is it?
Chill out, man.
Is that the
No,
tip? Is that the tip to chill out?
maybe just like I think Facebook was paying some people to sign off for Facebook until after the election. That might be a good idea.
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah, those
Um,
were weird, huh? Those like ads they were sending to people.
Mine's the same old. Like check your source. Don't just reshare. Just check your source. Both sides. Check your source.
Read the article.
Check yourself before you wreck yourself. If the URL looks like it's not, if you don't know, here's a simple tip: just take the title, the headline, and plug it into Google News. If you're going to see it on a variety of sources you read and don't read, it's over 10, 20. It's probably going to be real. And thankfully, as of late, they're putting like fact check things up on Twitter and Instagram, Facebook. Like if it has to do with COVID or the election, I'm seeing a disclaimer. But yeah, stay calm. Don't lose all your friends.
Too late.
And too late. That's it. Like, I think it's only gonna get crazier.
We'll see. We got a couple more weeks. My tip is not social media related. It's vote. Just go if you have not voted.
Good
vote.
one.
Get your vote in now. Mail it in if it's sitting on your table. Go drop it off at the ballot box. Fill it out if you haven't yet. Like I said, I think we're committed to doing at least one more episode before Election Day. Maybe we'll focus on election stuff, social media related. That's it.
Right.
Check your sources and vote for now, and then we'll be back before November the 3rd with another episode. So if you made it this far, the secret word is election.
See you next pod.
Later.